Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Mario, and as you can tell by the lack of a beautiful raspy voice, we don't have Nyasha today, but we do have the woman, the myth, the legend, Tasha joining us again. Hello, Tasha. Of course, you
Hello,
need to take a
Mario.
bow. You
Yeah.
need to take a bow.
I love that every time I come on here, my job title changes.
And it
Something
will
different.
only keep changing
Woman of
over and
mystery.
over.
No one
Yeah.
knows. Yeah.
No, no. Only Lewis Hamilton
Who is
knows.
she? Yeah.
How
How
are
are
you?
you? Oh,
I'm
Jinx.
you first. You first.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm having a pretty good day, and I feel like I don't know, it's just been like a nice day today, so I'm doing good. What about you? Your
Pretty
location looks
well.
different.
Yeah. I'm coming live from Puerto Rico.
Hey.
It's really hot.
Yeah.
It's really hot. If people didn't know, the Caribbean is actually pretty warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I went from Florida
Mm-hmm.
to like Puerto Rico. So I
Yeah.
am a masochist for the warm. Apparently.
You like the
Apparently.
humidity and the heat, yeah.
Oh, 100% humidity? Yes, the best.
Yeah.
Absolutely the best. That's why
Hey,
I'm
but it keeps your
hiding.
skin youthful and glowy and stuff. So I feel like there's a good trade off.
Okay.
Like you,
Okay.
it's preserving the youth.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. This is all my mom's genes. Like I didn't do anything to deserve this. I'm just hoping I just hope it goes. Now that we got the weather down, like
Yeah.
we're off to a great start with the small talk of weather. That's great. Um, I do have to say before we keep
Yeah.
going, for all of those watching on YouTube, please do like and subscribe to the Quick Stop F1 channel. That includes our hate watchers. Guys, it'll just show up on your YouTube page. You won't have to go through the whole search thing. You'll be the first one to hear us say something that'll make you so mad you will have to go and insult us. So just
Just do
subscribe, get
it.
it over with. Absolutely. For those of you listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, make sure to send out some 5 stars. Nyasha mentioned in the last podcast, if any one of you post maybe a funny review, I will be picking those out, and Nyasha will be reading them out in the main
Nice.
pod. So if you got something you want to say, that's totally positive and in no way criticism towards our podcast, then we will read it out live, but not really. We recorded. Uh, Finally, if you want to join our Patreon, we have ad-free content, so you'll get the main podcast and this podcast and every podcast without any sort of commercials. You will have access to exclusive videos that only exist in Patreon. For example, I had a great conversation with Nyasha on his process, really, when he's about to record a live show, when he's looking for a venue, stuff like that. And then finally, whenever we release any merch, you will have first access to that. So you'll have basically a Patreon pre-sale for that. I got it. I did it.
And
Woo!
scene. Yeah.
I totally didn't have that written
You
down, and I
nailed
totally
it.
wasn't reading it. No, I wasn't reading it at all.
I
That was
didn't
all
see your eyes
natural.
moving across the screen. It's fine. Yeah. It's so natural.
Tasha, we
Yes.
clearly didn't burn down the house last time because they
Yeah,
let
I
us
know.
do this again. How do you feel? Are you surprised that we got a second chance? Were you sure that we're going to get a second chance?
You know
What are your
what?
thoughts?
I enjoy that Nasha trusts us. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it puts that kind of pressure on because it's like now that you got the keys to the car and you didn't crash it the first time, your parents give you that access again, and it's like there's trust, but it's also
Hmm.
don't fuck this up. You know what I mean? Like
I
thinly veiled threat kind of vibe.
yeah. Like my parents are so much fun, but like I'm also a
Yeah,
little scared of them slightly.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
think they gave us the keys to the car, but they told us, guys, neither of you are insured. So like
right.
you fuck up and you're not driving it.
You're on your own. Yeah, yeah. And you got to pay for everything yourself. So yeah,
Gotta wash so many
yeah,
cars for that.
yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, just like last time, Tasha and I are here to discuss our post qualifying. Today we are doing the Canadian GP. So qualifying was over about maybe an hour and a half ago.
Hmm.
Tasha, just like obviously we'll go into everything as we go, but what are your general thoughts? What do you think? Did you enjoy qualifying this time?
No, I didn't enjoy it at all. I mean, I'm being serious. I
Yeah,
was
no,
just
for
so
real.
nervous with Lewis, because Mercedes' whole issue this weekend with the wet intermediate tires was that they couldn't get the tire temperatures in the right window. So their performance really suffered. And even more so because we already know that they tend to set the car up for race than they do for quali. So it was just like, damn, double homicide kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, like, so it kind of had me nervous, like some of that. But like, you know, again, we got a few surprises. We got some fun weather. Yeah, it wasn't too bad, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy like not feeling as confident as like, I don't know, the last race for Mercedes. But other than that, it wasn't bad. What did you think?
I hated it. Look, we'll talk about it. I know, but I can't go more than 10 minutes on this podcast without saying I don't understand what's happening with CHECO.
Yeah.
I would love, because I did I think I said it on podcast that I can't believe that this sport is turning me into like a conspiracy theorist, because I thought that like, how is CHECO back there and Max is in front? But Tasha, I think CHECO isn't that good.
Yeah. And I kind of have to eat my words a little bit because I think on one of the podcasts I was on, I was like, oh yeah, Checo's a better driver than Max. And let me see.
We all say peace.
Like normally I would double down, right? Because it's like no one likes to be wrong. Yeah. I still feel like there's technical things I think that Checo does better than Max. Like, but again, I feel like the edge that Max has as a driver is like, I mean, his mental like strength, his focus, his ability to not let outside stuff get to him. And I think that's where Checo, you know, that's where he's not able to match Max. And I don't think it helps that obviously every week his head's on a chopping block. Everybody has shit to say about him. I mean, at this point, I think it is just his dad who's supporting him with his whole
Great
chest.
Great dad.
Yeah.
Great dad.
Love
Happy Father's Day.
Great guy. Yeah. But at some point, you know, you see everybody does not have what it takes, you know, and that's, I think, kind of what we're seeing with Checo. It's like, you really don't have to have this much pressure on you. Like, no one's expecting you to come out and win every race against Max or win any race against Max. Honestly, P2 is where you're supposed to be. Like, that's fine. Just like, that should be your domain. Like, your race is pretty much with everybody else, like, you know, in that part of the grid. So the fact that you can't even do that, man, like, and I'm rooting for it. I do root for Checo because I'm like, you know, we need something to spice up the season, but there's nothing, you know, like much like Horner's barbecue, not even a lick of salt. You know what I mean? Like no seasoning.
You're saying Checo doesn't drive with any spice. No spice in Checo's drive. Nothing. You would think being Mexican, he would be all over the spice, right? But like, it's not even Mexican. Hispanic in general, we go overboard with the spice.
It's like, where is the energy? Like, fire up. Like, I mean, sometimes he like hypes himself up. He's like, yeah, I think I'm still in it, blah, blah. But it's like, your heart's not in it. You don't believe that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can say, I believe that I'm in a championship, but like your actions are saying something completely different. Like that maybe you're not that guy, you know? So that's how I feel with Checo. It's like, I do want him to like do better for our sake, especially. Like, I need something, you know, entertaining to watch. But yeah, I just feel like he's just not in it. Like, maybe he needs to consult with like, you know, sports psychologist or something. Like,
I just think it's super rough that the closest he ever got is the inflection point for when he started botching it over and over and over. Like, to your point, Lewis gets 15th, for example. And he gets a post qualifying interview, and he says, "I'm super hungry, and I want to win, and I want to do the best I can tomorrow." And you're like, "Fuck yeah, you do, Lewis."
Right, and I believe
that's absolutely like, right. 1,000%. You do, Lewis. I like. He's gonna
believe
leave
he can do
all.
anything he puts his mind to. Exactly. Yeah.
and it's what you're saying. It's, you know, he's got it in him. Yeah. Like, we've seen the dog, we've seen the fight.
Right. And the dog is an English bulldog, but listen.
His name is Roscoe, and goddamn, maybe he even drives better than Checo at this point.
Listen.
I hate it. Look, Tasha, every time we talk before the podcast, Tasha's super strict, and she's like, Checo, second or no. And I'm like, no, Tasha,
Nah.
please, let's say fifth or no. But hey,
No.
for both of our standards, Checo is terrible right now.
You're in one of the best cars on the grid. I mean, maybe the best car on the grid besides Max's car. So P2 is minimum, bare minimum. Like, I don't think I'm being too hard on him to say that.
I'm being too good with him.
You know, yeah, you're being too nice. It's because you're family. You know what I mean? Like, you see,
Not
you
right
have
now.
a soft spot for him. But I'm like, damn, like, you can't be given something like that and then just falter it. And honestly, again, like, in my head, if that was me, I'd be like, I don't feel that pressure. Because you're, like, the next closest cars to you guys are 30 seconds away. What are you tripping yourself up to compete for? Like, you know, to that level where you're making stupid mistakes. And, like, that's kind of how I feel with him, is like, you don't need to be putting this on you, and no one's threatening your seat yet. Although I feel like maybe that's going to start to come into question, you know, if he can't, you know, produce better results. But, like, at this kind of moment in time, he's doing for Red Bull what they want, which is you're just occupying the second seat. You know what I mean? Like, but also bare minimum P2. I mean, these cars are way slower than these Red Bulls. Like, there's no one on the grid that's going to outdrive you at this point besides Max. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like, you're wasting that opportunity, you know, in a faster car. You're just wasting it. So yeah, I don't know.
I hate playing body language doctor because what do I know? But once Checo was eliminated, they cut to Horner. And I think this is the first time I see Horner with a look in his face like,
too,
Horner's been, and whatever anyone thinks about Horner other than he sucks at barbecuing, like, he will stand up for his guys. And that face that he put was not a happy face. That wasn't a face like, I am excited to explain why Checo is back there and Max is in front. It's crazy.
That was a helmet Marco about to put his foot in Checo's ass again face. He's like, damn, I can't hold him back. He's about to say some ignorant shit.
God, you think that's actually Horner's face? Like, there's no way I can hold Marco back. Not this time.
Can't. Yeah.
Not after Monaco. Not after
He's
Spain.
Like, I held him off for like 2 races. Like,
what do you mean, Kristen? All I did was talk shit on him. Now I gotta actually do something about it.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to talk about, basically, we're going to try and cover basically a little bit or a lot of bit about every team on their qualifying performance and the weekend in general. But first, we will cut to an ad. Thank you for your support. Welcome back from our fantastic, incredible, super intense and interesting ad. So, like we mentioned, Tasha and I really took notes during Q1, Q2, Q3. But we were talking pre-show. Maybe we can dip our toes a little bit into each team. Obviously, we've got some opinions. I can't wait for Tasha to talk about her Ferrari opinion. We've got some opinions on every team. Some teams we have a little bit more to say, some teams not. So, Tasha, we can start with placements. We can start with teams in chronological order, or we can just riff on whatever team you want. So I will put the following on you. Do we start with Max Verstappen, who is number 1, or do we start with just your favorite opinions on maybe Mercedes, Ferrari? You lead the way.
I mean, we can get Ferrari out of the way. Like, we can clear them early, I think.
Yeah. Just like they did, just like Charles did in qualifying.
What's happening? Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, we're coming into a race where Ferrari's supposed to be their, you know, upgrades and everything. They're supposed to be kind of up there. And I think once again, it's just this self-defeat before, you know, you even get started, essentially. It's raining for today, you know, for today's quali. So obviously that kind of throws a bit of a wrench in everybody's program. We're mostly on inters and wet tires. But yeah, we get a little bit of a opening in Q2, stops raining. Yep. Alex from Williams and his team have the genius idea to go ahead and just put on softs because honestly, you know, it's a Williams in Q2. What's the worst that could happen, you know?
He could be Logan Sargent.
Yep, I mean, he could be, but he's not, you know. So they're like, let's take a little bit of a risk. Charles sees
Yeah.
this risk. And he also asked his team, like, hey, let's box for softs.
Yep.
Because the window is really small at this point from when it stops raining to when it's about to rain again. He sees that, you know, they could potentially put on softs, get a good lap time. And then anything that happens after it starts to rain, like nobody's really going to be able to, you know, improve on their times.
Put a better time in while it's raining. It's not gonna happen.
So, you know, our lovely Charles is over the radio. He's asking his team, like, hey, can I come in for softs? And they're like, let's just put on another, just put another lap in on the inserts, you know, just to see whatever. And in for science, you know, for research, let's just see what happens. And then obviously by the time he goes to box for softs, it's raining again. So this window of opportunity to be on slicks and to get a faster time is completely wasted by Ferrari. Charles ends up getting eliminated in Q2, which is insane because again, we just fixed his car from like a couple races ago. You know, they supposedly couldn't, you know, understand what was going on, so the car's fine, right? So whatever. So now we've got all these upgrades. We've got this beautiful Ferrari, should be ready to go. And once again, it's strategy that holds them back from exceeding, because much like, you know, we talked about with CHECO, you know, I feel like the Ferrari should be up higher. Like there's no reason why they're not always continually fighting for podiums as a team, but here we are. Like you got the whole strategy wall just like completely with their thumbs up their asses, I guess, you know, during quali and during races. And then you have Carlos Sainz, our beloved Carlos Sainz.
Our beloved. Did he have an issue? He had an issue with his car? I think he mentioned he might have crashed during one of the practices.
Yeah, lost the whole nose of the car, just gone. So, I mean, like, again, disaster class for Ferrari. Once again, a crazy weekend for them. And it's like the race is on Sunday. Like, how are you having this many mishaps? And we haven't even gotten to the race. So I can't even imagine what's going to happen tomorrow, to be quite honest. The clown car, you know how many clowns are going to come out? I have no idea. But and then, you know, you have Carlos Sainz, who does qualify higher. He makes it into Q3. But as always, because he loves to be in the middle of the road, will most likely get a penalty of some sort tomorrow. So we'll see if he gets dropped on the grid. But it's like, what was all that for? A lot of impeding. All he's good at is being pretty and being in the way. That's it. Those are his two things that he's good at. Like, that's it. You can count on both of those things being true. He will always be in the way, and he will always be beautiful. Pretty? That's it.
Tasha, give me your top three. Wait, no. Give me your top three cute drivers after Hamilton, who's obviously the first.
Cute drivers? Oh my God. Okay.
We don't have to go like super deep. Just like, who would you rank as a Sainz? Like, does Sainz have a superior? Is Sainz number one after Hamilton? What's your vibe?
You know, Sainz isn't in my top three.
Ooh,
he's not
spicy on like Sainz,
because I feel like his attitude kind of drops. He's in the top 5 for sure, but his attitude kind of. I feel like it's like Lewis.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. I think George is up there. He's a really handsome man. I mean, he's got a jawline that like doesn't quit. 3, I actually think I've given in to the like. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I've given in to the Lance Stroll propaganda.
What?
Yeah,
girl, it's like is it because of Canada?
No. It's because and you know what else? You know who else? It's like Lance Stroll. And guys, please don't come for me when I say this, but Alonso.
Guys, come for her.
There is some propaganda going. Yeah, I know. It's the eyes. They're very beautiful. They're both evil, spawns of Satan. But like, in terms of looks, they're up there. I think handsome.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to choose from. Let's be real. Like, it's just.
I think you have a very. To
good
me,
it's Lewis.
No, we're asking you, not Nyasha. We're asking you, not Nyasha.
I know.
You know,
we share a brain cell. Like we think that we have a hive mind. So it's pretty much like Lewis for like the first 20 places. Then it's George. Then like Alonso. Yeah.
Yeah, because since I've been in the Quick Stop family, I've consumed super surprisingly, I've consumed a lot of Lewis
Yeah.
content during
Yeah.
it. Yesterday I think I saw a thread on Lewis not sitting properly in couches, and now I'm like, I've been
Mm.
sitting on couches incorrectly my whole life.
No, see, you have been sitting correctly on couches your whole life. This is his white
Okay,
side popping out. Like nobody's mama
say it
with
ain't
some
so.
melanin is lets their
That
kids sit on the couch like that.
that's what I'm saying.
My grandma would slap me upside my head if my shoes were on the couch. Like I'm just
The
gonna be for
shoes
real.
touching the
The
couch?
shoes, you're crazy. But see, like
Nah,
he can't be. It's the thing with Lewis is like God couldn't have given him everything. Like you know what I'm
fair,
saying? Like he would just be
fair,
too powerful. So
absolutely.
they were like, we got to give you some goofy ass traits, you know. So his
It
issue,
feels like a changeable trade though.
yeah, he could change, but
He
why
could
should he?
change.
He's eight-time world
True.
champion. You know what I'm saying? Like
You know what I'm
you gotta tell him to
saying.
get his shoes off the couch.
Mm, mm, I
No
will.
one's
I
gonna beat
will.
my ass. Like that's how he.
Nah,
That's how I.
nah. Imagine someone comes up to Lewis, put your feet down. Excuse me, have you
Yeah,
won 7, 8 championships before?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Then you talk to them, not to me.
Right. When he gets
Mm-mm.
the security guard Roscoe to remove you from the premises.
Yo, Roscoe pulls up in a skateboard,
What?
like, get the fuck out. By the way, Roscoe faster than Logan Sargent on a skateboard. I believe in Roscoe like I believe in
I believe
Hamilton. I'll be
it.
honest.
Honestly, yeah, Roscoe is capable of that. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Back to the cars and the vroom vroom thing.
Right.
Um,
Ay,
so
ay, ay.
I agree with you 100%, and I think you worded the Ferrari thing perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's happening with Leclerc. You can get mad and yell on the radio all you want, but it's been a bunch of weekends so far. Um, I I'm careful with this, but it feels like, and I mentioned it earlier, it feels like if Charles tells you, guys, I want softs, your track record as a strategist hasn't been great. And I'm not even mocking at that point. Like, you go on
Mhm.
Twitter and whatever, and you clear, and you constantly, over and over, you see like Ferrari strategist botches it again. Let your driver make some decisions, and if it doesn't
Yeah.
work, it doesn't work. But the team needs to mix it up and do something different, because I don't think it's crazy to say, or like too harsh to say, that after the year they had last year, this is crap. Like
Yeah.
this is crap for Ferrari. And Ferrari, I think, is the type of team that, like, them doing well is good for Formula One. I
Mhm.
think just because of how historical that team is.
Right.
Tasha, question.
Yes.
If I told you, if I told you yesterday, there's
Mhm.
going to be 2 Ferrari engines in Q3, and I mentioned that, Ferraris have Ferrari engines, Haas has Ferrari engines,
Right.
would you have said it was a Haas and a Ferrari?
Not not in P2.
Not
I
in.
mean, we could talk about Nico later, roughly, but like yes, I feel like the Haas they've been doing great in quali. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't be surprised to see
Yeah.
them being there, but Nico P2 and you're in P11 and you're like in a faster, better car. Like that's what I said. Like it comes down to the strategy. To me, it's like Charles. I mean, Charles has his moments too, as a
Like bad
he's got that
moments?
bozo gene. Yeah,
Yeah, the Bozo gene.
sometimes they do
Absolutely.
some some
Yeah,
stupid
absolutely.
stuff, but it's like it's also to the point where it's like he cannot outdrive people on his team, like sabotaging him essentially. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like not doing their
Yeah.
job. We talked a little bit before the show started. Like I feel like the dynamic with Carlos and Charles. Like I feel like Charles is a better driver than Carlos, but Carlos does a better job of like advocating for himself.
Yeah.
Mid race he'll be like, I'm coming in for these tires, or like this is the new strat. Like he'll vocally say like this is what we're doing, because I mean he knows, for as much as a bozo as Carlos is, he knows that they're bigger bozos, on the strategy
Yeah.
wall. So
Yeah.
he at least kind of has that vocal aspect to him where he'll say something, or like he'll just press an issue. Where I feel like Charles has been a little bit too like timid or whatever to
Mm-hmm.
give that negative, I wouldn't say negative feedback, but I mean, it's just feedback. Like it sucks that, yeah, you don't want to like come for your team, but at the same time, they need to be come for sometimes, because it's like, how else does things change if people are not being held accountable? And if you say, hey, I think this is a good window to do this, and your team vetoes that, and then that causes you to have a worse result, no fault of your own, like, I don't think it's out of the realm to then criticize your team. You know what I mean? Or take matters in your own hands when you're racing. So I don't know. I feel like, like on a systematic level, you know, Ferrari just is, it's hard to talk about them because it's like, you almost can't believe that they're so incompetent at this, given the fact that they're like, you know, a heritage team. You know what I mean? Like, one of those historic buildings, you know, in like New York City that you can't ever tear down, but like, it's about, you know, it's time, you know, we tear some shit down and put something else there in its place. Like, that's kind of how I feel with Ferrari. It's like, maybe you guys, we can say like, you've given it your best shot and it hasn't worked out.
You're ready to give them the participation ribbon. Like here you go, guys. Try again next year. Try again next year, guys.
I just like, what's left for them? Like, you can't get it together doing a quali. Like, what's left for you? You know, like, I don't know.
I just think bulletin board season starts. They're like, we are going to win. What does that bulletin board say right now? Like, we're gonna get third. Like, let's go fourth.
Which is fucking crazy. Yeah.
Mathematically, like, I haven't made the math or anything like that, but I know big number, little number, and right now is a big number versus a very little number for Ferrari. Like, I don't see them in any way, shape, or form.
No, they're going to keep sliding down and then, blame other people besides themselves.
So we talked about Nico, and as I do, I swear I'm not a Nico hater, but this is like the third time I'm going to come off like a Nico hater. But I just want like people who are like, oh, Nico is second. I just want them to know the following. Nico has been first and second 2 times before. He was first in 2010. And he ended in 8th in Brazil. And then he was second in 2016 in Austria. And he ended 19th. So don't go chasing bets on Nico Hülkenberg just yet. To close out Haas. I the only thing I want to say, and then you can say whatever you want as well. Like, it's weird to me. I never believe in Haas because they're always so far apart. Like, it feels like a fluke every time they get like a high spot. Because, for example, this is pretty close, but I'm pretty sure that every other time it's worse. Nico is second. Kevin Magnussen is 14th. That doesn't give me belief in Haas. That just gives me belief in that Nico put it together really, really well. Q3, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're great at qualifying, and I mean, I think again that's sort of the thing with quali is like, you know, we see so many people who are good at qualifying and getting their car where it needs to be, but like, you can't keep that spot in a Haas. Like, you're just not. I mean, once DRS is enabled, and probably even before then, you're going to get swallowed up and then just sent down the grid. And then again with Haas, like, they're not great on the strategy wall either. So it's like, yeah, you know, it's cool that he's up there, and I enjoy seeing stuff like that. I mean, absolutely. Again, you need little moments of like, that's just funny. Like, of course it would be a Haas in P2. You know, why not? Like, what else random shit could happen this season? So I feel like you need like little moments like that. But like, when it comes down to it during the race, like, their car is just not gonna stay. It's not gonna keep that position. You got Alonso behind you. You got Lewis directly behind him. Like, it's pretty much a wrap for you. So, I mean, I feel like hopefully maybe they can try to cling to the, you know, P10 that one point, but
points.
I don't know.
Points would be cool. Points would be cool.
Yeah.
I think Alonso is going to play the Jaws theme music as he approaches on lap 1 on Nico. I just don't see that. I'm just saying Nico is not going to be second place by the end of lap 1.
Yeah. I don't even think by the middle of lap. I think by like the third or fourth turn. Like, I don't even think it'll be that long. So, yeah.
All right. Let's do. So we did Haas and we did Ferrari.
Yes.
Let's go to. You know what? Let's just jump to McLaren real quick, because like, what are your really the big takeaway for me, and it's a question for you, like, what are your thoughts on the skill gap, or like, what do you think about Oscar Piastri in
Mm-hmm.
comparison to Lando because I've noticed that excuse me, I've noticed that when Lando qualifies well,
Mm-hmm.
Oscar isn't that far back. Like we
Yeah,
haven't
he's
seen like a Haas thing where it's like second and 14th. Like they're always
right.
pretty close by. Are
Yeah.
you? What do you think of what you've seen so far from Oscar?
Yeah, I think Oscar, like to me, I think he's one of those like people flying under the radar a little bit. I mean, the McLaren hasn't really given either driver an opportunity to like shine that much on track.
Yep.
I will say that I'm looking forward to seeing how the McLaren behaves in the race tomorrow. It's a dry race. Like, well, hopefully a fully dry race. So I'm curious to see how they actually perform.
Yep.
Without that variable. But like in terms of like Oscar and Lando, like he's hanging in there for a rookie. I mean, he's already got I think 5 points this season, which I
I'll
think
check for you.
I mean that's quite a lot of points to be able to
For
score and for a
rookie?
rookie and in the McLaren. Like the McLaren has not had breaks for like 2 or 3 seasons. Do you know what I mean? Like
that's a great
it's a
point, Tasha.
hard car to drive. So he's got 5 points, and yeah, I think Lando has 12. So yeah, not a big gap in between points for them. So yeah, I think more than anything, I'm just looking forward to seeing how the McLaren actually behaves in the race. I mean, the last time that Lando was able to get P3, I mean, he said in post quali, like I don't anticipate staying there because for the same reason, like I don't think they have good race pace. But still, I think I'm interested to see like what the McLaren can do because it does seem like lately, since their upgrades, that they've been able to qualify a lot more consistently in Q3. So, yeah,
No,
that's what I would
agreed,
say that.
100%, 100%. And just
Yeah.
to confirm, you're absolutely right. Currently, Piastri has 5 points in the driver championship.
Mm.
Which I think 5 points obviously sounds like nothing, but first
It's
year,
hard to
and
get
just
those
like you
points.
said,
Yeah.
yeah, and just like you said, like it's not like he's in a Red Bull, just like getting lucky with a great car. Like
Yeah.
just like Lando, they're fighting that car and they're trying their best. But I wanted to ask because I am just like you, I'm pretty impressed by what Piastri has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with all the pressure of like all the drama stuff that happened before the season
Yeah.
even started. It's impressive. It's cool to see. So we are going to quickly jump to AlphaTauri because I wanted to just mention it
Mm.
because I am kind of a Nick DeVries hater. That compared to Oscar Piastri,
Yeah.
our boy Nick has 0 points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Oscar is, I think, the only rookie with points at this. I think Nick doesn't have
you are
points and
absolutely
Logan
right.
doesn't have points.
You're
So, I
absolutely
mean,
right.
yeah, already he's doing better than the rest.
I
But
think if
yeah,
anything, we just said about 5 points. If anything, I can guarantee you that Nick and Logan wish they had 5 points.
I feel like I wish that they even had 1 point. Like, like could you imagine like there's 20 drivers on the grid and you're like only one of 2 people who doesn't have a point? Like that type of pressure, I feel like would drive me kind of crazy because it's like I don't want to be that odd man out. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be the only one on the grid with no points. But it's hard
You
to
actually
get
get a
them.
trophy. You get a
Yeah.
trophy for it. It's called the Latifi.
You get a Latifi trophy and
You
like a
get a
little bottle of
Latifi.
Nutella.
Yes, yes, and
He
Drake's
makes you a
newest
Drake
album.
mixtape. No.
Yes, Tasha. Yes.
He's like started from the bottom, still here. Yeah.
Still here. It's still here. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's still here. It turns out.
He's like, it gets better. It gets better. Yeah. It's like a Latifi support club,
Oh,
support
it
group.
doesn't get better though, if not for
Yeah.
Latifi. Yeah.
I mean, well,
Anyways,
anyway,
let's talk
yeah.
about the one off Atari we do love.
Yeah.
Did you see anything interesting from our boy Yuki?
Yuki was kind of a madman today. I'm not gonna lie. Like he was doing some wild
So
shit.
what, Tasha? What are you doing? Not our Yuki. Not our Yuki.
No. He's just like, whatever, I'm doing whatever. I mean, I enjoy him so much because it's like he's just working so hard. Another car that has not had breaks in 2 years. Like at this point,
Literally.
he's performing miracles. He's gonna start P16 tomorrow. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's doing good for what that car is letting him do. I would be so excited to see him in a better car, because I feel like he's really put in so much work over the last
better car,
season.
Tasha? Which better car?
I mean, we were talking before. I think I really do see him going to Red Bull. I think he could be a good driver for Red Bull. I mean, that's the whole reason why he's in AlphaTauri. That's the whole point of the
That's the
program.
point, right?
So I mean, I think if Perez doesn't get his shit together, you never know. I mean, I
Absolutely.
feel like Yuki is in a similar boat. Like, I mean, he's not going to outperform Max. So they don't really have to worry about the dynamic there being like, who's the number one driver? Like, they don't have to worry about that. But I would personally just like to see Yuki in a better car because I want to see a car match his skill. Because I feel like he is really like, again, another like little sleeper agent who's back there like performing
Except
miracles.
when he's on the radio.
Yeah. No.
When he's on the radio, no sleeper.
Yeah. Because his engineers be pissing him off.
I'll say this because you brought the point of like putting Yuki in Red Bull, and like I feel like everybody is just assuming like no, Yuki's gonna go to Aston Martin, which is a super fair assumption because Honda. But like, I think if Red Bull give any sort of crap towards keeping Yuki, he's got to get like promoted to Red Bull.
Yeah,
because like. There's no way Honda gets with Aston Martin. Obviously, we don't know how Alonso and Stroll are doing at that point. But like, if Red Bull cares at all about Yuki, they would be trying to promote him because I think the 2026 move to Aston is like an obvious one.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it. I just feel like his skills don't match the car. And I mean, same thing with Alex Albon. We kind of talked about this too. Like, I've seen people on Twitter today were talking a little bit about like him in that second Ferrari seat and Sainz's seat. And I feel like I would love that in theory, but again, the car would be better. So I feel like Alex would have, that going for him, but you're going into a system, an organization who's just like
not looking too hot.
Yeah. And Alex uses his brain, you know what I mean? So it's like you with a big brain going to come into a team with like, the rocks for the
tiny brain. Do you think
you put your ear up to their ear and it's like the sound of like the ocean type of shit? Like, yeah. So I feel like in theory, Alex to Ferrari would be really good, but I feel like Alex would suffer the same fate as Charles, where like, you're a promising young driver being very much held back by your team. So I don't know where I would like to see him end up. Definitely a better car, at some point. But yeah, it's rough, I think, out there for these few drivers, the best of the rest sort of drivers that like have better skills and are like doing the best that they can. But like, where do they go? So I don't know.
So you think Albon is gonna be the first driver? Like half a season goes past and Ferrari just hires him as a strategist?
No. Again, I don't think anybody could come into that. I think you guys talked about this in the last podcast. Like, can one person come into Ferrari and like make a difference? I think you and Nasha talked about this. And like, to me, because it's like a top to bottom problem.
In the roots.
No, it's the house is rotten. Like the whole
That's what I'm saying.
Knock that shit down. Like bulldoze it, start over from scratch.
Yeah.
Because that's how I don't know. I just feel like yes, you could bring in people who are strategists,
winning out of the places.
Drivers. But yeah, it's just like at the end of the day, they're gonna do what they do. So
it doesn't translate to victories over there. I think
it's almost like a don't meet your heroes type of situation. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to race for Ferrari at some point because it's that, it's that prestige. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And then when you get there, it's like, oh shit, this is ghetto. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is ghetto. So that's how I feel like it would be I would avoid at all costs if I was. Then again, it's like if I didn't have a choice of another seat and Ferrari was like, hey, we'll sign you. Excuse me, I'll take it. But it's like, yeah, I would avoid at all costs if I could. Look at Charles. Like, look at his therapy bill. Like, you think that this man...
That would be the first question I ask. I will join your team, but first...
What are the benefits? Yeah.
First, I want to violate HIPAA, and I want all the information on Leclerc. Like, how long are those therapy sessions? Does he have a therapist on call next to his engineer during the race? Right. Like, I need to know those things because, like, mental health is important, guys.
It is important.
All right, so we've done so far Haas, Ferrari, McLaren, and AlphaTauri. Let's just round it up because we spoke a little bit about Albon, and let's go ahead and talk about Williams. Yeah. So I think we've seen something pretty typical from Williams, where we have Logan Sargent
Mm-hmm.
not doing super hot, and then we had, like we mentioned
Not doing
earlier.
shit.
I mean, I'm not disagree. Tasha has said 0 lies during this podcast, everybody.
Yeah.
0
I'll
lies.
never tell y'all a lie.
No. She doesn't lie, and she hasn't started yet. Oh my god. No, but he's American, so like, yay! Formula One. I don't really have any problem with Logan, but like, Formula One forced it way too hard. Formula One wanted an American, they got one. Now he's 20th. But I guess really for Williams, super impressive for Albon. I love his risk taking. I worry a little bit about Albon just because I don't Ferrari would be cool, but really not because of what we talked about. I don't see where his team is, you know, like unless he can put the Red Bull stuff behind him and go to Red Bull and do well, I don't really see a good fit for him anywhere. Not that he's a bad driver at all, but just like I don't see a team and that says this would be a good fit for Albon. At least not right now.
Not right now. I mean, and also he's very much a leader. So if you put him back in the Red Bull with Max, it's going to be the same situation that, you know, why he left Formula One in the first place. So, although this time he would be a better driver.
He would probably become like the best feedback giver and stuff like that. I don't really know how Max is, and I'm not criticizing that way, but like Albon just seems like a treat for whatever team he's in. Like a driver that's like a little bit more than just a driver, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's the cool thing about him being at Williams is, I mean, honestly, it feels like, you know, he's in like some kind of internship for engineering, but like it does feel very much like he's in his element there. Like, excuse me, like I feel like he doesn't really, I feel like he's taken the opportunity at Williams to like really just be a more complete driver. Like I said, like whether it's strategy, whether it's like skill, like whatever, like he's taken the time to be like, look, I know I'm not in a car that's capable of like race wins or even podiums at this point, but like what can I do with this opportunity now that I'm like here and that I have it? And I mentioned before he wrote an article for the Players Tribune. It's this like blog where, you know, athletes can from all kinds of sports.
Players Tribune.
It was so good. And his article was great, and it talked about his time away from F1 and why he, you know, coming back. And so I feel like his perspective has shifted, and it's like Williams is not an ideal situation for most people when you're just like looking at it from like a standpoint of like, okay, you know, what can you really do in that car? But in terms of an opportunity of like becoming a better driver, because there's not really that much pressure on you. You know what I mean? Like he's taking that and like really like doing like everything he can with that opportunity, I think. So
absolutely.
Especially like becoming a team leader, like imagine like, you know, he's able to do with the Williams. Like to me, if I'm looking at from a different team, like to bring him on, like I know he would be that driver who, you know, could give, like you said, better feedback, who can lead a team, like actually bring some like experience other than just like being a fast driver, which I feel like the grid kind of desperately needs, because looking at a lot of these pairings, you don't really see that so much where there's like one clear leader, you know? Yeah. So.
And it's his leadership, not to say that it's in any way like his level, but his leadership is similar to Hamilton with where it's I'll show you. Not I'll just I'll just say I'm the best. I'll just say I win. Like he shows you he shows you how much he cares about the team, the sport, etc. I'm going to break to an ad, even though I don't know if we have a second ad, but we've just hit 5 teams, so it's a perfect division to go into the other 5 teams. So this might be an ad, or it might not be an ad. And we're back from the possibility of having an ad. So far we've got 5 more teams to go, and you know, let's do a quick one. Your thoughts on Alfa Romeo?
None. NA. I don't know. There's like they're just like that team that I completely forget about. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I know that, you know, Valtteri's on it and like Joe is on it, but it's like they just, again, is it a car thing? Is it a strategy thing? Is it driver? Like, it's like a perfect storm, I think. You know, too much is going on in that team. And also nothing happens on that team at all. So like, yeah, I just feel like I don't have very many things to say about them. I mean, obviously I think Valtteri had a better qualifying today. He made it to Q2 at least. We
Joe's
saw.
car, yeah.
Oh my God, that was the first red flag of quali. I mean, he knew from the minute that
Yeah.
the light went green, he was like, "Oh shit,
Mhm.
something's wrong with the car." So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like their heart's not really in it. Not the drivers, but like the team, because they're going to be
Yeah.
changing over to Audi. So, yeah, Alfa Romeo is just, I think, just sort of there. Taking up space.
That's
Yeah.
a good. I would agree.
Yeah.
Sucks for Joe. Seems he's very, very talented,
Yeah.
but we never get to see him in action really because he's
Yeah.
hampered by the Alfa Romeo, and it's almost like they're irrelevant.
Yeah. I mean, VB's helmet designs are great. Every freaking race
Yeah.
kills
That's
it.
a great point. Yeah.
Kills it. Like, I mean, if nothing else, he has a career in that when his F1 career is over. But the man can design a helmet, like, for real. So yeah, and again, he's another like I don't know where they go after this. Like I don't know what they're.
Yeah.
I don't actually don't know what Sauber plans to do with them once the season's over. But yeah,
I think this
best
season.
of luck to them.
Exactly. But I think this season has showing us that like
Yeah.
I don't think we need sister or junior teams anymore. I think because like we can go into like we should definitely cover this in a separate episode or something. But like I started looking at the years that these sister teams were established, like AlphaTauri and Mercedes and Williams and stuff like that, and it's like look at CHECO, for example. He didn't come from AlphaTauri, like
no, he didn't. Yeah.
And then what's AlphaTauri doing now? We don't even know if they're cultivating like Nick DeVries or Yuki.
No.
Like we talk about Yuki, like they'd be super cool if he goes to Red Bull, but like they don't even promote anymore. So like when you hear Andretti wanting a team, Audi wanting a team, I just wish they were F1 was a little bit more strict about your performance as a secondary or a sister team has been shit for the past X amount of years. You don't deserve a sister team or a junior team.
Yeah.
Because like imagine we had like actual 20 teams that were 20 separate teams, no junior, no sister, and then all of them were, I think it would be more competitive. But, we just need more people to come put the money in.
Yeah, you got a Billy.
Yeah. I don't got that lying around, but maybe one day.
Yeah, me checking my couch cushions. Yeah, Venmo me.
Yo, whoever wants to Venmo us a Billy, we're cool with a Billy. We'll come up with the rest.
We just need 1 billion of you to donate $1. Think about that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. We promise we will put that money to good use. Number one, we will get a new team. Number two, we will go to every race and simply go stand next to Lewis. But we'll take pictures of him and bring them back to you.
I'm great at photography. I will definitely take some photos.
Tasha, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. All Lewis needs to see is 1-2 pictures from him, and he's like, "You're hired, Tasha. You're hired."
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Speaking of Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Sir Lewis.
What was your impression during this session for Mercedes?
I mean, again, I just felt like I was gonna projectile vomit. Like I shouldn't be this like emotionally invested at this point because we already know like the Mercedes is just at that stage where it's like we're working on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the mirror. I don't know why I put so much like whatever, but again, we expect Lewis to kind of outdrive his car, and so. Yeah, it kind of makes him this larger than life figure. So sometimes when he's like on the fringes of being eliminated in Q2, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to vomit. Like that's how I feel. So, but going back to what I said earlier, like, the Mercedes was having some trouble, firing up the intermediates. And unfortunately for us, like it was raining consistently. So that just meant that like the car was just having a lot of trouble with grip. And so Lewis was putting in these laps that just kind of, and again, like he was getting like P3 and it would like, he would shoot up, but then obviously people would kind of like knock him down the list. And so it was just like a yo-yo kind of feeling like, okay, we're doing good. No, we're not. Oh crap. Like, oh, we're doing great. Like we're fine, So it's just like too much of an emotional roller coaster that I was on. And then you see George. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah. Was it Q2 that Lewis had like no time set until like the very end?
Yeah, because kind of like Ferrari, his team, Mercedes waited a little too long to put him on soft, so that there was like a very limited window of opportunity
Yeah.
for them, like where the track was still dry enough to use slick tires. Because once you go back onto inters, you're not going to set the same time on inters as you do on softs. So that was their chance to kind of get him up the grid and potentially keep him in a position where he wouldn't even have to go out again, you know, to set another time. But per usual, you know, we like to live life on the edge, I think, here at Mercedes. So yeah, they just made his mission, they just made it harder than it had to be. So it was just kind of like one of those feelings where it's like, damn, you know, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what can you do? Just stressed out. Like, I just am here, like, stressed out, like, all
No,
the
this
time.
quite Q2 was like,
Yeah.
no, it was too much. Q2 was too much.
It was too
Q2
much.
was too much.
Yeah.
No.
And it's the rain. Like, anytime it rains, it's like you really don't know what could happen. And so it, like, that variable already makes it uneasy. Now, normally Lewis is great in qualifying in the wet and racing in the wet. So it's not like it's not a him thing, but it's like the minute you hear that the car is not able to produce grip on inters, it's like shit, because there's only so much he can do. The man's not a superhero. So, you know, that kind of just made it a little bit more uneasy. And again, because the car is set up for racing, not quali, it's just like we already struggle to get high enough places because we're not setting up our car, you know, for that. So I did have some interesting quotes from James Allison, the technical director, though. That kind of put me a little bit at ease. James is, you know, the technical director for Mercedes.
Yep.
And he came back and sprinkling his little magic on the car. So he says, in an interview, he says, he was asked, like, could this car become competitive enough to win a race this year? He says, yes, it can. And then he also goes on to say, can we, if we do the right things, be in the championship fight for the following year? Even more, yes. And then he did a second quote. There was like an article, and he says, quote, I'm certainly enjoying it. I'm just tucked in with my colleagues, plotting and scheming what we're bringing for the tracks this year. And also similarly, what we're trying to do for next year. When you've got a bit of a picture forming internally with all your fellow engineers of how that journey is going to look. And it's a bit like waiting for Christmas. You can't wait for it to arrive. And it's very exciting.
That dude talks like he loves his job.
First of all, he sounds like he is super in love with his job. I'm glad he came back to the team. But like I pulled those two quotes because I was just like, I'm not an engineer, but the car looks better. It does look better. It looks, it hits that baseline that they were trying to accomplish of, being able to set it up and like having a less, finicky, window for that to function. And so like to hear him say that not only could they compete for race wins this year, and that he's very excited about what's in the pipeline for this year, but also next year, we might not be in this position where we're like, where we're basically like praying and hoping that we get to Q3. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I don't know. For me, I was just like, that kind of makes me feel a little bit better. Like it definitely feels like the game plan has been working for them. And I would say overall with Mercedes, their demeanor lately has just been more upbeat. Like Lewis has this twinkle in his eye. George doesn't.
His feet on the couch.
His feet is on the couch. I mean, like George seems like he's struggling like a slight bit, but George I think is great at adapting anyway. So I think he'll get used to whatever the changes are. But just in general, I feel like the team is speaking more positively about like their chances. It's not such a pipe dream that, they might win a race. It seems possible. So I don't know. I'm excited for Mercedes. And I'm excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a dry race, mostly dry race. Yeah. So I think being P4, P5 on the grid, I don't know. I have some, we can talk later about predictions, but yeah, I just feel like we're in a good spot. And so to know that we're in a good spot now, and then we're also in the future in a pipeline in a good, I'm excited. So
I think it's fair to say, Tasha, you're looking at Lewis and George at fourth, and you're looking at Nico at second, and you're saying,
I'm about to eat his ass up. Yeah.
I can eat that up, bro. Yeah. I can eat that up lap one, I'm thinking about desserts lap one.
Yeah.
Like at the end of lap one, I'm thinking I'm going to eat some dessert. Like,
honestly, I'm not even thinking about him at all. I mean, like to be quite, probably thinking like how to get around him without.
Literally. Do not get hit by the house. That's all I'm thinking. That's
Because
all I'm saying.
One thing about Nico is that front wing will be hanging off. So you don't be the person, don't be the reason.
Hey,
Don't be that guy.
if you
Yeah,
gotta wait till lap 2, just wait till lap 2,
just
brother.
wait. Yeah,
We're
yeah,
good. I want us to jump to Alpine because, and
yeah.
this is breaking news, Tasha.
Oh yeah.
Sainz was hit with a 3 grid penalty.
Dang.
So
So where did he go?
now our new situation is Carlos Sainz starts 11th.
Mm.
So now Leclerc starts above him. Yeah, Leclerc is no, or never mind. The point is that our Alpines, which are Esteban Ocon and where my guy Pierre Gasly,
Hmm.
man, it sucks because Pierre Gasly is 17th and it was fucking Sainz's fault, but he's like, oh, he got 3 grid penalties. Cool, I'm still back here.
Right.
Fucked.
Yeah. Pierce fucked.
Yeah, he's there. Gasly's
Yeah.
there. Gasly's there. Ocon is looking at 6th place.
Yeah.
Ocon and Hamilton have had quite a few battles, and
Mm.
they've been pretty good. So if Ocon can pass Russell, I think it's going to be good. You know, if you close your eyes and
Yeah.
you stop looking at Max Verstappen on the first place, this looks like a
From
pretty good
P2
grade.
down, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, we'll see
Ooh,
what happens.
very interesting from P2. Yeah, yeah. As long as you close your eyes on that Max one.
That's the F1 tagline for this year. Everything after P1. It's great. We promise.
No, guys, trust us. Just ignore
Yeah.
who won and look at everything else.
Don't even look at that. Don't even look at that. Yeah.
No,
That
no,
guy's
no,
just
no,
doing
no,
his
no.
own thing. Don't worry about it.
No.
Look at everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we just had to like give him the lap around. You know, everybody's
Yeah.
saying he didn't win actual championships, so we're just trying to like put that aside. Any thoughts on Ocon or Gasly?
Best of luck to them.
Absolutely, best of luck to them.
I don't know. I mean, again, same thing with like McLaren. I am interested to see. Hopefully, they
Yeah.
can. I hope that there's a clean race. Like I just want to see a race, where we just see like strategy play out, and we see these cars because I just want to see how these upgrades have actually impacted them. And I know Alpine kind of really didn't get a chance to, hasn't really shown what the car can do, you know, to its highest ability. And so I'm interested to see Gasly. I don't know. He's like that one team member that I feel like he's hit or miss. And it doesn't take much, I think, for him to get into like these like string of like bad performances, you know?
Yeah.
And yes, we could say like, you know, science impeded him, but like he wasn't doing that great before then. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I feel like again, he's kind of like one of those people who like under the radar is like low key like not doing that great given the car that he's in. And I think Esteban is doing. I think he's doing better, and I would like to see him do even more than what he has been doing.
Mhm.
But you know, again, the cars ahead of them are just way too fast, and Alpine can say all they want that they think that they're going to be competing with the Ferraris and the Mercedes. You can say that all you want, but I'm sorry, like it's just
Positive thinking. Positive.
yes,
thinking.
positive thinking. Yes,
Dream it, you know.
Needs even
Aim for
more
the
of that, yeah.
stars. Aim for the Mercedes and the Ferraris. You might be fighting with an Aston Martin.
but also be fucking for real. You know what I mean? Like be
At some
fucking for
point,
real.
we need to
Yeah.
sit down with you guys and just like, you know, let's just have a real
Yeah.
heart to heart on the actual situation.
Yeah.
All right, I'm in a Quali Red Bull with 3 bullets. Bullet
Yeah.
number 1. If Verstappen wins the race, he will tie Senna with 41 wins. If Verstappen wins the race, it'll or CHECO. Ha 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 ha.
Positive thinking. You said it.
After Monaco, I'm out.
Right.
And then, so if Red Bull wins, it'll be the 100th victory of Formula One. And CHECO makes me depressed. If you want to be my cousin, let me know through Twitter or Instagram. Do you have any thoughts on? We talked about CHECO a little bit, but any more thoughts on Red Bull?
No. No thoughts. Just vibes.
Okay, just vibes, and not great ones either.
Not good vibes from them. I mean, again, it's like, where do we go from here? I mean, you know, CHECO has a recovery drive tomorrow to do. He did get P4 last race, so I mean, he kind of had the same situation before, like last race, where you know he was like what P15 or something, and he got P4.
He got 4th, yeah.
Yeah, but like even then, it's like, dude, if Max had come back from P15 or whatever, he would have won the race still by 15 seconds.
Yes, sir.
So, again, what are we doing here?
Mm,
The bar can't be that low for him. I'm sorry. Like,
nah.
foot still needs to be on his neck to actually do
Mm-mm.
something and achieve something in that Red Bull. So, yeah, I don't have much to say about that. I mean, Max is going to be Max, you know.
I saw.
Yeah.
I think we all saw like a tweet talking about Grand Slams, and just
Yeah.
wanted to mention like in Formula One, a Grand Slam is going to be when you are first P1, P2, P3, and then in qualifying, and then you win the race as well. Max did that last weekend, if I'm not mistaken. That was his third time. Lewis Hamilton has done that 6 times, and then Alonso has done it twice.
Wow.
Just
throwing that out there.
Yeah, just throwing that out there. Now to the home heroes and Tasha's secret crush. Fernando Alonso and Aston Martin.
Oh
Wait, no,
my
Fernando
God.
Alonso, Lance Stroll, and Aston Martin. Talk about not the crush this time. Talking
Dreamboats,
about their
yeah.
driving. Talking about their
Okay.
driving.
Well, if only Stroll drove as good as he looks. Another seat in another team that I feel like it could go to somebody better. Like he's not the worst driver for sure. Like, I mean, he has his moments, but it's just like the potential of that Aston. If Alonso's able to put it like basically on podium
Third?
every other week,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's no reason why he's not right behind him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's P4 minimum every week.
Not P13?
Not P13.
No.
Like not an asset. Your dad bought this team for you. You know what I'm saying? So you could fulfill a dream. And look what you're doing with this opportunity. Like, look how you're squandering it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if my dad was a billionaire and bought me a Formula One team to drive in, like, I would be working my ass off to make sure that I didn't look like a fucking clown. You know what I'm saying? Like,
My
there's
dad
other teams that you could be on if you want to, like, drive like a clown and nobody would even second guess it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Be in a Haas. You know what I'm saying?
Haas would love
be
that
the
money,
second
though.
Williams driver. I'm sure they would, but it's like, why are we doing like this whole like cutting your teeth in an Aston Martin? You know what I'm saying? Like his dad made so many investments to get this team to where it is now. The car is amazing now, and you're the one dragging the team down. Like now you guys have lost second in constructors to Mercedes, who is a much slower team, but a much more consistent team. And so it's like, yeah, get it together. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason.
It's looking bad.
And he's not that bad of a driver. You know what I'm saying? He does make stupid decisions. Like,
Yeah.
he leaves a lot and he does like dumb shit like that. But like, keep it in between.
He won
the
a
lines.
race one time. He won a race one time. You don't do that by being a shitty driver.
Yeah,
Even if it was like special conditions and stuff.
I just think it's a mental. I think it's again. I think the thing between each of the drivers is like a mentality thing, and I think if you have like a weak mentality, it just really shows like how easy it is to have like lapses in concentration. Kind of just be like a one note driver. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, if you can be fast, that's fine. But if you can't like think on your feet, if you're making if people are around you and your first thought is to like weave so they can't get around you instead of, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just like, why? Because there's so many times he's DNF, so many times he's like, dropped down the grid just from like really stupid stuff. So yeah. I feel like that. I mean, Alex, I could see Alex Albon. We're talking about like moving seats. Alex in the Aston, because the team's not as incompetent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
it just would require Daddy Stroll to want to like actually remove his son out of that seat. I don't know if he's going to do that, but I could definitely see Alex going to a team like that. Having
as far as developing a car, a team of Alonso and Albon. Feels like a team that can do really well at helping develop a car.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it looks like, to be honest, it looks like Alonso's helping develop the car by himself. So it's
no, that's what I'm saying.
Having a second competent person on the team might not be that bad of a deal. But who knows?
Yeah, Max and Alonso have this chat every day. Like, if we had a second driver, boys, that would be crazy.
Yeah. Well, maybe they could be on the team together, and then we can see how that goes. Yeah.
Would that be the most toxic team in Formula One history?
Chaotic.
And fun?
Toxic. I would love every moment of it.
I would love every second.
Because Alonso's doing that fake Big Brother thing right now with Stroll is kind of pissing me off because I'm like...
It's only a matter of time, baby. Only a matter of time. I've been in enough toxic relationships to see what faking it looks like. You know, my dad gave me a guitar and a hell of a lot of need for therapy. So, like, I've seen it. Do you think those family conversations are awkward? Do you think they talk about Formula One? Do you think they have like a page at the door that says no Formula One talk past this door?
Who, the Strolls?
Strolls. Yeah.
The Strolls.
The Strolls.
Honestly, if I would hope that they wouldn't talk about it. For the sake of their relationship, I would just hope that they just don't say anything about his
final question.
Yeah.
Do you think Stroll sleeps in a car bed, and do you think it's green?
You know what? He does give car bed vibes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, with the little stick on glow in the dark stars on top of the ceiling.
Yes. Yeah. He's also got a racing flag that's also glow in the dark.
Yeah,
on the top. Yeah. That's what he's got.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, or bunk beds. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, he's very. Lance gives me failure to launch vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like
absolutely.
Yeah.
He was lucky to be next to Vettel. No hate on Vettel, but like Vettel didn't do as well as Alonso did, so we didn't have this comparison to do. And people will say, Alonso's a world champion. He was a world champion a long ass time ago. A long ass time ago. So like, I don't think that's the vibe where like Stroll doesn't have to do this well because he's against champions.
Yeah.
You want to be a champion yourself, you should be doing better than you are right now.
Yeah, because otherwise, what's the point of being there? You know what I'm saying? Like, just to, again, take up space.
Take up space. Damn, now that you said Albon and Aston Martin, I would love to see that. Fuck.
Just in terms of like, it's a faster car.
Yeah.
And it's a more competent team.
No Red Bull history.
Yeah.
No, and they're on the up and up. Yeah. So I like that.
Yeah.
Tasha.
Yes.
We did it. We did it.
Did we get everybody?
Every team.
Oh, wow.
We did it. They thought it couldn't be done. They thought it, I don't know who they is, but they thought.
Yeah.
So now comes the best part of the show where we literally just guess things and are wrong most of the time. So you can pick, because these bold predictions make me nervous. So you can pick whether you want a bold prediction or do you want a top 3 prediction for your podium for tomorrow?
Okay, I can do like a delusional podium.
Delusional is good. Okay. What place is Lewis getting, Tasha?
I mean, I don't think I'll be delusional, but I think P2 is
P2 is in the works
for Lewis.
For sure.
For Lewis.
Yeah.
I could see it being basically a Verstappen, Lewis, Alonso podium.
Yeah.
But then again, knowing George Russell, he might sneak his way on too, so we can probably get another Mercedes 2-3. Yeah, I don't know. But I definitely see something like that. Like, I don't see any of the Ferraris really coming into play.
Imagine.
No. So, yeah. Delusion would be Lewis P1. Again, it would just require some...
Max has to get DNF.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It sucks to say, because like I don't want any driver to have to DNF so another driver can win.
Yeah.
But like for now, I think the best bet is that Max DNFs. But we talked a little bit about this, and I think it's super interesting. And you just said that, hey, maybe we get a 2-3 for Mercedes. At this rate, if Mercedes keeps putting Lewis and George pretty high, and Max keeps obviously being Max, but Checo keeps doing what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
There's a world where because in the last 2 races, Mercedes has scored more for the Constructors than Red Bull. So if that trend keeps going, there's a world where Mercedes could actually win the Constructors.
Interesting.
And that would suck ass for Checo. Like, I don't think you need anything else. You don't need anything else to say, Checo, you see that shit? Okay, bye. Okay, bye.
That's his final parting gift. He's like, on top of me doing nothing for the world driver champion, I'm also not contributing to the constructor.
At that point, you're an anchor. At that point, you're like, if Red Bull doesn't win constructors, he was an anchor.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this then. Do you think at any point in the season we might see Checo's seat come under like legitimate threat?
I think no, because Red Bull will be too scared to pull that shit again, because they've done it so many times and they've literally it's just Red Bull. Let's be real. Verstappen, I think everybody could see that he was going to be a big deal, similar to Piastri, that everybody knew Piastri was going to be good or whatever. So I'm not impressed by Red Bull picking up Verstappen. So other than Verstappen, what other like great pickup? What other like driver do they have on deck? That's why I don't think it'll be this season. It's just They're not going to promote Yuki this season.
Yeah.
They're not going to promote Nick DeVries this season. And I think the Daniel Ricciardo thing, nobody knows, but I don't think so. Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because then even Ricciardo would be like, what if I suck for just 3 races or some shit like that? Then it tanked my, you know. But if things keep going how they're going and Checo keeps being an anchor to Red Bull, then you never know. You never know. So I'm going to say, other than Max first place, because, you know, it is what it is.
It's reality.
I do think one of the Mercedes, I prefer Hamilton, obviously, is going to be in that podium.
Yeah.
I think Aston Martin is going to have some shit happen to them because Canada and Stroll and everything. So I think that either Russell or Ocon are going to have that third spot in the podium. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Max Lewis, Ocon, or Russell.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a good one, I think.
Yeah. I bet with Nyasha that Stroll is going to DNF because that would be hilarious to me. So I'm hoping that happens too. Okay.
Well, I think it'd be funny too to see Alonso beat Stroll at his home race. Do you know what I mean? Like
they said in the broadcast. They said in the broadcast that there are less Stroll fans than they thought, and it's because there's so many Alonso fans because he's doing well.
Yeah. I mean, the game is the game. You know what I'm saying? You gotta.
I don't know.
Gotta be a better driver. You know what I mean? Like,
Canada ain't loyal. I don't know. I thought they were so nice.
Yeah. They're like that. Well, let me not. The little Canadians, yeah. They're my neighbors. They will come to beat my ass.
We might be in Canada for some live show eventually.
Or sorry me to death, yeah.
They would probably say sorry to make you think that way.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I did want to say one last thing about Lewis, because you know, this is kind of an interesting stat for him. You know, Verstappen's not the only one having fun this weekend with the stats, but with Lewis getting P4 today in Quali, that basically preserves his like 17-year-old record of qualifying P5 and higher at Montreal. So like that's fucking crazy. Like the consistency is crazy. I just like people don't understand. Like it's not easy. I mean, even we talk about just getting like a point in a race. You know what I'm saying? So, but to consistently put in performances where like you're qualifying that high year after year after year, like that says a lot. And, you know, that's kind of what I hope that we'll start to see. Maybe it rub off on some of these like younger drivers, I think, is like this not breaking records just to break them, but just because you're consistent and that those accolades come along with it. Like, you see so many of the drivers, like they have this like impatience about them. And maybe they know that like, you know, they're not going to be here for 20 years or whatever. But it's like, you should still like aspire to be that consistent and keep your head on and like, you know, keep your head down, you know, so that you can continue competing. And so I think that's like the cool thing to me about Lewis as like a driver, like, you know, of all the things, I just think that his consistency is insane because it's just not easy to even get anywhere close to that. Like even just a year after, you know what I'm saying? Like to get, it's, I don't know. So yeah.
Lewis is Lewis is tied with Schumacher for 7 wins in this GP. So if he gets one more, he would be the most wins in Montreal of all drivers. Pretty good driver, you know?
Yeah, he's not bad.
Not bad.
He's not bad.
Well, if you don't have anything else, do you have anything else?
No, I mean, I think we covered it. I think we covered everything. Quali was, you know, Quali was Quali. And
we did our best with what we had.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, Tasha, where can people find you for your amazing opinions and vibes?
My vibes. You can find me at the Glossier if you like beauty.
She hasn't added me on Instagram. She is actually. Honestly, I added her on Instagram like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Maybe I even sent her a message like, "Yeah, we did it." She ignored me completely.
Okay, let me be.
So don't add her on Instagram because she'll ignore you. Twitter, she's good though.
Let me just say, Instagram has like actually been my least favorite platform to be on lately. I normally do like a lot of photography stuff and like video content, and something about that platform has just been like bad vibes for me. Like, get the stage out. Like, I don't know. I just haven't really been wanting to. So I've been on TikTok a lot more. At the Glossier, and I will add you on Instagram, even though I probably won't do anything on there because
Guys, I
I just
made it.
refuse. I haven't
I
even
made
posted
it,
on there
guys.
since September.
I
Yeah.
made it.
He really was like ambush.
But at least you got to say, you know, you're on
Yeah.
TikTok, follow me over
Yeah.
there, you know.
Come on TikTok and hang out. Eventually I'll get back to it, but I've just felt like I just really have, and that's I think why I've been so into Formula One is because I just feel like this has been so much fun to like find something new to be passionate about and learn about and just kind of like find new community. Like the whole Quickstop community has been incredible. You've been awesome. Nasha, Tandy, everybody has just been like so cool to like get to know and like even though right now the sport is kind of in, you know, disarray and shambles and, you know,
Not
we
ideal.
complain. But to me, I just still feel like it's been a lot of fun to like learn something new and like be immersed in a whole new world that I normally wouldn't be a part of. So yes,
It's super brave of you though to like come on podcast, have this new passion of yours, and
yeah.
just speak your truth like how you want to, and not be
Yeah.
nervous about that. And you do a good job about it.
Thank
So like,
you.
it's very cool to like this is just a new thing that you branched into, and like
Yeah.
you are so good at it, so well versed in it. So I
Thanks.
think that's why we're all like
I just
I
love.
think
I'm like
yeah
I'm a big learner. Like I'm somebody who just like enjoys
yeah
learning stuff, and I think Formula One's cool because it's like you really can come at it in like all kinds of ways. Like I follow a lot of people who do like tech analysis stuff,
hmm
and I'm just like I don't know what the hell they're talking about half the time, and the graphs I don't know what all these colors mean. But it's like eventually I'm gonna get there, you know. So
yeah.
that's what kind of what I'm working toward is just like understanding on a even more technical level, like what the cars are doing and like what these little changes that they're making are what they do to the cars. And yeah, just like having something fun to talk about. And like interestingly enough, like when I normally make content, like um I really focus on like the product or you know whatever. I really rarely like speak on camera, which is like kind of
Yeah.
funny for my content that I've made for like 10 years. So like this is like the first time I'm really like getting to show like a side of my personality that you normally don't see unless you're on Twitter, because I love tweeting. Tweeting is like I'll
Yeah.
never stop because like who doesn't want to just be able to regurgitate every thought that they have and like you know share with the world
Shout it into the
in
void,
that moment.
you know?
Yeah. So but yeah, it's just been fun. And like for F1, like to be a content creator in F1, I've been like trying to think of like where I want to, like where I see myself and what I want to do. So yeah, it's been fun having these opportunities to talk with you guys and just like yeah, I don't know, it's been fun.
Well,
It's been fun. It's
to me, it's
frustrating,
been
but it's
very
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
To me, our two
Yeah.
episodes, I've had a lot of fun. Talking to you is
Yeah,
great.
same.
We should definitely look into getting into the techie stuff eventually. I
Yeah.
pretend to be an engineer during my day job,
Right.
so I love those little bar graphs and stuff. That's my
Yeah.
jam.
Yeah. You know when your teachers are like, you're going to use this math at some point in your life as an adult, and you're like, when am I ever going to use like algebra ever again or whatever,
Yeah.
like geometry ever again, trigonometry ever again? Like now, deciphering F1 graphs, like that is how that is where the math comes back into play. Should have paid more attention. So yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait for your video on
Yeah.
understanding the technology of Formula One.
For real, I'm gonna get there one day.
Yeah.
One day.
Hopefully I'll be a guest on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're still watching, thank you so much. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you to like, subscribe. And then if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to hit those 5 stars. If you leave a cool review, it will most likely be read during the main pod. I'll be picking those out. So I've been Mario Perez. You can find me at Mario_APM on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, Tasha, this has been a lot of fun. Take us away.
Guys, no matter what, keep it on the black stuff.
Boys.
Bye.
Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quickstop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.